Hello, welcome again. I would like to talk to you today about essay. How do I write an essay that makes distinction, that achieve distinction or first class at university's level? That is the questions that I want to address in this clip. But before I continue, so you may want to find out what exactly qualified me to talk to you about that. All right. Number one is that I always, all the time, write a perfect academic essay that achieve that sort of grade that you're looking for, right? And you may also want to get a glimpse of my current writing, my current research. So I would recommend to you to read one of my current paper that was published this year in 2020. So if you go online to sciencedirect.com, you will find that paper there. It's recently been published. So you may want to go and have a look and see what structures, because obviously it's an essay, it's a conceptual paper that has a very well balanced argument there that you compare may be useful to you in terms of structuring your own work. But let's go back to the subject that I want to talk to you today about, which is how do I write a perfect essay that achieve distinction at the university's level. Now, one of the things that you want to be aware of when writing an essay, you need to understand what is the purpose of an essay, right? The essence is to present a logical reason argument, if I want to put it that way, in response to a specific question. So there's a specific question that you've been asked, so you want to present a logical reason argument relating to that. So you need to have an effective structures that will help you to be able to achieve uh, the essence of that particular questions, that what the question is asking you to do. So you want to be focused, you want to be very progressive. That is very important, right? Rather than just jumble through ideas. So you want to be very focused, you want to be very progressive. But I want to suggest to you some guide in terms of helping you to plan what you need to do, whether you're writing a 500 words essay or you're writing a 1,000 word essay or even a 5,000 words. So if you're writing a 500 words essay, an essay that requires you to write 500 words, and these principles will apply to a 1,000 word piece of work or a 10,000 word piece of work. It doesn't. It's the same principle. So I want to suggest to you some tips that you can use. So for me, you need to plan the entire writing process. And a few questions to ask yourself when planning your essay is that number one is, do I understand what my assignment question is asking me to do? Do I understand what my assignment question is asking me to do? Number one, right? Number two is to look at what is my instructive response to the question. What is my instructive response to the question? That is number two. And how do I already know that this is of relevance to the question? So that's another thing. And what else do I need to find out? So that is another point that you want to figure out. And what have other scholars written on the topic, and do or agree with them? Do I agree with them? What have they written on the topic? Do I agree with them? Do I not agree with them? That's also important. And also, what reason do I have to support my argument? So you need reason to support your argument. You need to support the message you're trying to put across. These are the very basic stage of the planning process of writing an essay. That is very important. But you need to understand that everybody's work is different. Like you need to have that in mind in the writing process. So that is very important to note that everybody's work is different. People write differently. Now, but what I want to really cover is that, bear that in mind. What I want to cover in the next few minutes is some suggested stages of essay planning. What are some stages that are there when planning your essay? Because the planning stage is as much as important as the writing stage. And so, one of the things that I would suggest to you, number one, is break down the part of your assignment question. Break the assignment questions down. You get that? Break down the different part of your assignment question. So, if the questions are given to you to say, address these questions, what is organizational management? If that is the question, for example, you want to figure out exactly, break it down, break the questions down, find out, figure out what the tax word means, the keywords in that particular questions, what do they mean? And you want to identify specifically what you need to write about. That's important. What you need to write about, the central message. So if the question is very broad and very general, decide what aspect you need to focus your answers around. That's a very important point. For example, there is a question on organizational management that asks students to apply a decline stage framework to an organization. So, what you need to do in that type of question is to break it down, right? You have decline, right? You have organizations, you have framework. So, what specific framework? So, pick the framework, break it down into different pieces. So that is my number one. Break down the different parts of your assignment questions. That's important. And also, and I do that all the time. And even when writing a piece of academic research, academic work for publications, having published in the top journals, I do this all the time. Which is the second point that I'm going to talk to you about. Number two. Number 2 point is mind map everything you already know about the topic. Do a mind mapping of everything you already know about the topic. Try to identify your uh, instructive or instinctive response to the essay questions, right? Try to do a mind map around the topic. This is really important, and if you can, try to identify a gap, a research question that will guide you as you navigate your way around the writing process. I often tell my PhD students, I let them know that writing is an art, and the best way to write is to write. Okay, so mind mapping is absolutely important when you're considering writing your essay. So, number three, which I have to talk to you about, is to research. Research. Number three, research. Once you know the topic, once you know the questions, once you know what the examiner is asking you to talk about, to basically answer the question that is asking you to address, do your research around the topic. And this is nothing to be overstated, really, because it's more like stating the obvious. But a number of times, students struggle with research. Okay, what you can do a desktop research. You can go on Google Scholar, right? You can use Google Scholar. So put in Google Scholar, put in the keywords in the assignment, and see what papers, what journal articles comes out. Especially when it comes to essay writing, there is the rule of three structure. The rule of three structure, and is important in your essay, right? The rule of three structure is absolutely important in your essay. Make sure that your essay has a clear introduction, right? Whether be 500 words assignment, make sure that your essay has a clear introduction. Make sure that your work has main body, which is important, and make sure that it has conclusion. Simply put, you should say what you are going to say, which is in the introduction. Say what you're going to say in the introduction, right? Then say it, which is in the body. Address it. Balance critical argument, not just one-sided argument. And if you're making a point, provide empirical backing, empirical evidence to or support from the literatures to back up your claim that you're making. So say what you're going to say it, and say what you have said. Say what you have said. That is the third point. That is the third part in the rules. Number one is say what you're going to say, which is in the introduction. Say it. That is the main body. Say what you have said, which is the conclusion. So the actual number of paragraph in the main bodies of the text depends on the topic, depends on the question that you're trying to address, right? Or the number of word counts that you have to write. So if you're doing a 500 words assignment, your introduction should possibly be about 50 words, right? About 50 words. And your conclusion should probably be about 50 words. Your main body should be about 400 words. That is my recommended guide. 10% in the introduction, 10% in the conclusion, 80% in the body of the work, right? So have your introductions, write your introductions, say what you're going to address, say it in the introductions. In the body of the work, that's where you discuss, you actually answer the questions. So if the question says apply a framework, make sure you apply the frameworks to, if the question is asking you to apply a framework to a particular organization, apply the framework to a particular case. Apply it. Use the case, use the information from the case to answer the questions. And then when answering the questions, go to what you find from research to back up the claim. That is the way to go. That for me is the way to go. And the crucial features of the structure is that each paragraph only contains one main idea. Each of the paragraph have one main ideas that you are trying to use to answer the question. So that is the crucial part of the of an essay. I think again, and this for me is really important. And if you go back to the articles that I showed you earlier on the video, you can go back there and read it. This is the paper, all right. This is the paper. You can go and look at it and read it. That will give you some ideas in terms of essay writing a balanced argument, not just a one-sided argument. And this paper was recently published this year. It was published this year, early this year, in top journals in strategic management. So you can go. It can provide. I believe it's free to download. So if you go on sciencedirect.com, you should be able to find it. It's on Willing online library. It's there. You can see it. If you go to Google Scholars, you can see it as well. Is there for you to download. But coming back to the core listening. So my top tips is that first and last sentence of your paragraph are important in your essay. Your first sentence should or the beginning of the essay should tell the reader or the examiners something clear and specific about the point that you're about to discuss. In other words, if your assignment of the question is asking you to discuss or apply a particular framework, so you in the beginning you may want to use sentence like this work or this essay critically discuss this or apply these to this particular case organizations in the context of this, and then you then go on to define key terms within that, and then you can go on to really answer the questions now haven't maybe give an idea of what you're going to discuss in the in the essay. So that is really important. And also the last sentence should make the relevance of the point totally clear. Your essay should, the body of the work and the conclusion should address the so what aspect. So that's really important. So you could really do like so in a bit. So the structure of your essays want to make sure, and I do that all the time, and at some point I would do maybe a PowerPoint slide that I can show you, that can tell you all these bits and pieces, or maybe even use a post-it note and show it to you in terms of breaking this thing down so that you can really remember them. So in the bit and pieces, so to capture the guide that I've said so far. So have your introductions, which set the context and the aim of the essay, state your argument and indicate how you will answer the question. So in the introduction, so I can repeat that again. So in the introduction, so you have your introduction sections, and I've said that if you have 500 words assignment, that should be about 10% of the word count. That would be possibly be about 20. That would be 50 words or so, 50 words though, or so. So in the introduction, state the context of your essay, the context and the aim of the essay. State your argument and indicate how you will address the questions. That is really important to pass across. Now, in the body, develop your argument point by point, right? And then you put forward the reasons that support the argument that you've described in your introduction. So develop your argument point by point. Okay. So if you're having 6 points that you want to address, develop them point by point. Put forward empirical evidence from the literatures that you've researched around, and use that to back up your claim. And then the last part is that you want to summarize the reason that support your work. And this is the part that most oftentimes works that don't achieve 70 plus, that don't achieve distinctions, or that don't achieve first class, usually miss. If your essay does not address the so what, it's not just sufficient to say that, research suggests that organizations are most organizations are innovative, and so what? So what about that? So what does that mean? What is the implication of that? Does it mean that some organizations are more innovative than others, or does it mean that all organizations are equally innovative? Does it mean that, what does that mean? So you want to address the so what aspect of your writing as you write. What implications? Consider the implications, provide a counter argument, provide a counter well reasoned balanced argument against that. I think that for me would be my top recommendations in respect of that. So summarize the reasons that support your argument with no new information at this stage. When you're doing the conclusions, so you're not adding any new information, so don't add new information. So try to remind the reader what you have covered and how you have answered the question. So the key thing is that you try to remember what you've covered, and then obviously you try to highlight the key point. So the top tip is that it is useful to know what you want to argue before you actually write. So that's really important. And you want to state your argument in your introductions, and then simply spend the rest of the essay trying to elaborate on that, maybe paragraph by paragraph, and see how that can be helpful. And you should give some thoughts to the order in which you present your ideas as well, and what would be the clearest and most convincing way to kind of sequence your arguments. So that's really important. Like in the, I keep referring back to the research paper that I showed you. If you go back to that particular papers, you will see that organization product design pairings, which is these particular papers that are published with my colleagues, published in Strategic Change, a top journal, very top, highly rated representative journals and strategic management. If you go back to that papers, so what we did and what I did when I was writing that paper is that I follow a logical path in developing the framework that we put forward in the paper. So it may be useful when you have a very clear logical ways before you actually start the writing process. So once you've written your first draft, try to sum up the main point of each paragraph in one sentence and look at the outline whether is it logical, and try to proofread and proofread and proofread. I think that would be for me the key things. So remember, take away from this video is say what you're going to say it, said what you have said. These are the key things that you want to have in your essay. The rule of three structure: introduction, main body, and conclusions. And what that means is, simply put, say what you're going to say it, which is in the body, say what you're going to say in the introduction, say it, which is the body, and actually say what you have said, which is the conclusions. But I hope that you find it useful. Drop me comment on the video. Please also make sure that you like these videos and also put comments and also share as well. But specifically, finally, I think for some of you that have asked questions relating to how do I start, I hope that this give you a good way to start to structure your work. So better whether you're writing 500 words, I've mentioned that. Give practical example to say if it's 500 words, 50 words for introduction, 50 words for conclusions, and 400 about in the body, right? And try to be very clear, very specific, well structured. I hope that you find this useful. But I will do another videos relating to essays again, and much more specific, and answers quite a number of the questions that you may further ask. But make sure that you like, you subscribe, and I will do more in time to come. Okay, all right.